UFC Fight Night this weekend. We've got Garry taking on Carlos Prates. Late notice fight. Carlos Prates was supposed to be taking Jeff Neal, and Garry stepped up to take it. We're going to have a look at some of the fights we're looking to bet on, and I'll skim through the others as well. So, scrolling down, first fight of the night, Chelsea Chandler versus Jocelyn Edwards. Tough fight to predict. Jocelyn Edwards, I would say, would edge it, but a lot of split decisions she got. It's going to be very close, this fight. So, I wouldn't begrudge you for going Chelsea Chandler as the underdog on that one, but really close fight, too hard to decide. Timmy Coamba versus Roberto Romero. Not watched enough on him, so couldn't give you a honest prediction on that. Jacqueline Amarim versus Poliana Viana. 9-1 record for Jacqueline Amarim, but that one loss was against Sam Hughes, who isn't the best, but she has beaten quite a few prospects, so maybe she's better than people give her credit for. And then Poliana Viana, she's got quite a few losses. Not the best fighter either. Another one where I'll just look to stay away from it. Cameron Simon versus Malcolm Wellmaker. Now, this has been an interesting one. Wellmaker's looking good, and he's got Chris striking. He's coming in off a win on the Contender Series, but I think this is a massive step up in competition for him against Cameron Simon. Simon's only been beat by top guys, Peyton Talbot, and then Christian Rodriguez was the other guy he's been beat by. So you can't really knock him from them losses. I feel like you probably just need to watch this one to see where Wellmaker really stands and how good he really is. Next fight, you've got Damon Blackshear versus Alatengalele, however you pronounce that. Damon Blackshear is really active at the minute, looking really good submission game. Alatengale, I've not watched much of him. I can't really remember many of his fights, to be honest, even though he's been around a while. But I'd probably lean Damon Blackshear on that one anyway, I think. Yeah, he's looking good, and I think he's going to keep winning. I'm not sure if I'll bet on it, just because I can't remember this Alatengale. I'm not sure of how good he is. Next fight, Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. Now, I'll probably bet on this one. Chris Gutierrez is a guy we picked when this fight was supposed to happen a few weeks ago. So we had a little look at that one. And yeah, why would I change my mind? I'll stick with Chris Gutierrez to win that one. Next fight, you've got Evan Elder versus Hamad Hassanzada. So let's have a little quick look into this one. Evan Elder, 9-2, fighting out of Killcliff, so decent gym, a lot of good sparring partners. And he's got a decent record, 9-2, 2 losses against Nazim Sadikov and Preston Parsons. One by cut and one by decision, so it's not like he's been knocked out or submitted. And he's got a few good wins in there as well. And then Ahmad, he trained at TR Alpha Male. You never know though, actually, when you look at Tapology and it shows you the teams where they're fighting out of, it's not always up to date, so I'm not taking that for granted anymore. Coming off 3 wins, last fight was on the Contender Series, so it's going to be hard to say, isn't it? Probably better off watch, although he has lost on the Contender Series before as well, and then lost a decision against an 8-5 guy after that, so... And then these guys who he's beaten and got the best records, you'd probably lean Evan Elder on that one, wouldn't you? So we'll have a look at the odds at the end and see if it's worth having a punt on Evan Elder. So next fight, you've got Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. Now, hard one to predict, isn't it? Like, Matt Schnell, he does look good until he gets finished, and he gets finished often. But he does look good until he's getting finished. Even this Sumiderji fight, he was losing that one. He was getting battered. He nearly got finished about 3 times in that. But then he managed to pull it out. So realistically, you could be looking at no wins in his last 5 fights if he didn't pull through on that one. So tricky. He has fought some decent guys in there though, like Brandon Rival and Stephen Erceg, even Cody Durden, but hard to pick him, isn't it? Even though I don't think Jimmy Flick's the best either, but he's got some good finishes, like some good submission wins, and then a couple of ground and pound losses in there. And he's 2-1 Jimmy Flick. I was looking at the odds earlier. So it's hard to say. You can't put money on Matt Schnell as the favourite, because how can you trust his durability and then him just not to get finished? But you could potentially have a look at Jimmy Flick getting the win at 2-1, because I could see him getting a submission in that fight. So yeah, it's a risky one, but there is an option there to go 2-1 on Jimmy Flick. So I will have a look at that one. Next fight, Erkam Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. Now, Muniz, really good submission guy. He's not been the most active, but I remember him getting a sub over Jacare. Yeah, he got that nice armbar on Jacare. That was 4 years ago now, and then that was a really good finish. And he's not fought for 2 years now. So yeah, not been the most active, and he's coming in against Ikram Aliskerov. And I feel like it should be there for Ikram, but you just don't know, do you? Lost his last fight against Robert Whittaker, I remember that one. And I think he's been finished by Hamzat before. Yeah, I'm brave. A lot of good wins in between, but it's one of those. You just don't know. Like, he could spoil the party, couldn't he? Andre Muniz. Yeah, so risky one, probably won't put that one on. Next fight, you've got Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dolby. Now, Randy Brown's the favourite in this fight, but Nicholas Dolby, even though he's 40, he just does not give up on himself. He's in the fight always, he'll never quit. I've seen him in some absolute wars, and he's just never out of there. And even his last fight, split decision loss to Renat Fakhretdinov. I can't remember how that fight was going, but split decision. He's always in close fights if he's losing, and he's had a few split decision wins as well. But he's very active, and he's got good stand up. He's got alright grappling, and I think he might just be a little bit more active than Randy Brown and get the decision here. I can't see Randy Brown finishing Nicholas Dolby. I think that's how he has to win. He has to finish Nicholas Dolby, because I think if it goes decision, I think Nicholas Dolby is just going to be the more active fighter, and he's going to get the nod on the judges' scorecard. So I might be looking to play that one on the underdog, Nicholas Dolby. We'll have a look at the odds. Next fight, you've got Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. Now, Magomedov's been finished a few times, hasn't he? Most recently, it was against Sean Strickland in round 2. And I think if Sean Strickland's finishing you, he's had a few other losses by stoppage as well, then Michel Pereira can definitely crack you. And if he cracks him, I think he'll put him away. So I'm leaning toward Michel Pereira on that one. Lost his last fight against Hernandez, but in the 5th round, and you've seen what Hernandez is doing lately. He's a dog, isn't he? And I feel like he's a future champion potentially, so no shame in that loss. I think he's really awkward Pereira as well, and I could just see him catching Magomedov. So yeah, we'll go with... I've clicked on a bloody advert there. We'll go with Michel Pereira on that one. Next fight, Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. Another really close one. I feel like this card is full of close fights, which could go either way. That is going to be a tricky fight to predict, that one, so I'll be staying away from it. I think Onama's the favourite, but Giga Chikadze is good, man. And the Georgians at the minute, they're on a roll, aren't they? They're getting a lot of wins. But I'll be staying away from that fight. It's just a really close one. Next fight, Anthony Smith against Ming Yang Zhang. I don't see how you can be betting on Anthony Smith, and I think the odds are too wide to be going Zhang as well, so probably stay away from that one. Bit of a boring video, but I feel like I need to get on the ball with it, because I missed last week's. I just need to keep them going, yeah, keep committing to them. Anyway, main event, Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates. I've definitely got a pick on this fight. I think Ian Garry gets it done. I think Carlos Prates is good, and he's got a lot of finishes, but I can't see him finishing Ian Garry. I was watching some of his sparring footage recently as well. I feel like he's put way too much out there, and he was getting beat by the guy who was sparring the same way I see Ian Garry beating him. I know sparring, it's not fighting, and it looked like he had a hard session before that, but think Ian Garry's too good for Carlos Prates, especially in a 5-rounder. I feel like Ian Garry gets the decision here, or even potentially finishes Prates in the 4th or 5th. So yeah, I feel like that's an easy pick. I'm really confident in Ian Garry getting the win now, so let's have a look at the odds and see what we're going to get and who we're going to put on. So, start with the first fight. We're not going to bet on the girl fight. We're going Chris Gutierrez to beat Jordan Castaneda. Like I said, we looked at that pick a few weeks ago, so no reason for us to be changing our minds. Damon Blackshear is only like 3 to 10, so might be worth putting on. We'll just have a look first at the other ones. Wellmaker versus Simon. Simon could be a good pick at evens there because Wellmaker's not fought anyone on Simon's level yet, although Simon has been cracked a few times and Malcolm Wellmaker's got good precision striking, so he could definitely put Simon away as well. Next fight, you got Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick. We're saying maybe we'll take a punt on Flick because there's no way you can bet on Matt Schnell at 4 to 11. No way. He's just not durable enough. He gets hurt in every fight. And then you got Anthony Smith. We're not betting on that one. We're going Michel Pereira. We're going to go Nicholas Dolby. And then we're going to go Ian Garry. So, 4 fights there. And a tenner on that will get you 140 back. So, Chris Gutierrez, Michel Pereira, Nicholas Dolby, and Ian Garry. And a tenner on that will get you 144 back. And I feel like that's the safe bet. That's probably what I'm going to put on. That's what I'm comfortable with. If you wanted to put Jimmy Flick in there and make it a bit spicy, you're getting 430 back for a tenner. But I'm not confident in that pick. I just think the value in the odds are pretty decent. So I'll probably stick with this one, to be fair. Not bad for 4 fights, 140 quid. And I'm pretty confident in them. Yeah. I feel like the weakest leg on that really is if Randy Brown finishes Dolby, but I can't see it happening. Or Chris Gutierrez losing to John Castaneda, but I can't see that either. So I'm confident in that pick. 4 fights, so I'll be putting that on. Cage Warriors on this weekend as well. I'm going to have a look at the odds for that when they're all on. And I'll probably do another video tomorrow. So subscribe if you like the video. Come back. And I'll see you next time.